who are our winners? I'm gonna start with Raja. Who are our winners? Your winner of this trade deadline?
Who's a winner? I mean, the Lakers are a winner, right? Like, you got fucking Luka Doncic. They're winners, but I think DeAndre Hunter, big winner. It's a huge winner. Like, you're now on the number one team in the league. Are they still number one in the league? I mean, look at the stand. They're number one in the league, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Slightly behind Oklahoma,
Slightly behind
but number one in the
Oklahoma.
East. Yeah.
All right,
But DeAndre Hunter to the Cavs, like the Cavs are a big winner there too. Like
Cavs,
DeAndre Hunter's a winner. The Cavs are a winner for getting him. That was a phenomenal move.
For sure. Trying to think who Kyle Kuzma.
Got the hell out of Washington.
Kyle Kuzma won. I don't know if the Bucks necessarily won.
I didn't say the
but
Bucks.
Kyle Kuzma definitely won.
Listen, I will say this about the Bucks, about that move. The word around the league is that Chris Middleton is just kind of toast. I hate to say it. And if that's the case, if you traded a Chris Middleton who's not really functional anymore or won't be for very much longer for a much younger Kyle Kuzma, fit aside.
Well, that's a really good deal for this, right? Has a descending deal.
Yeah.
Kyle Kuzma, it's a decent move. I've seen a lot of Kyle Kuzma this season, and a lot of it has been not caring whatsoever about.
But that's another one, right? Like, in fairness to Kyle, I should have been fair to Kyle when I said I didn't say the Bucks won. You're in a bad situation. It brings out like, you can only be in those so long before they start bringing out bad habits in you, right? So, you get somewhere and there's a breath of fresh air and there's an opportunity. Like, who knows what kind of services he provides for Milwaukee.
He was a good, responsible role player on that Lakers championship team, right?
No doubt.
You put him in the right situation with stars around him and where he knows his role and his place and is not trying to say, like, I'm the guy now. You're not doing that when you're playing next to Giannis and Dame. So, yeah, Raj is right. Like, it's easy to get caught up in yourself when you're in a no situation where the team's tanking and you just start thinking about your own stats. Now he's got to think about something else. So, like, there's a good chance that the Bucks get the best version of Kuzma.
No doubt.
Not for nothing, though.
Go ahead.
Kyle Kuzma, I don't know if he was clairvoyant or what, but that decision not to go to Dallas is looking really good right now.
He knew something. What was the third eye? My winner, to your point. My winners are going to be the Cleveland Cavs and DeAndre Hunter. Like, I think I'll just distill it down to those two.
Show. Beck, who are your winners?
We don't have to get cute about this, right? Like, the Lakers won the trade deadline, right? Like, they just did. They got fucking Luka Doncic.
You said that while we have a Celtics fan on the line and we have a Warriors fan and Ben Cruz just. I'm surprised he hasn't cried right now because he was looking really disheveled coming onto this call.
The Lakers won the trade deadline by a mile. That's just the truth of it. But I want to say this too. You know who else won the trade deadline? The NBA won the trade deadline because after all this stuff about second aprons and the market's going to be really tight and it's like a hard cap and nobody can move anything and the whole system's locked up. We saw a shit ton of activity in the last several days, including Luka, only an MVP candidate, Jimmy Butler, only a multiple-time All-NBA guy, De'Aaron Fox, really good young player, Brandon Ingram, Zach LaVine. Like, these are not, the 10th men on rosters. Like, these are significant players that just got moved. And on top of that, DeAndre Hunter to Cleveland. Like, the Cavaliers having a historically great season for them, who look like they're in a position to possibly challenge the Celtics, to challenge the Celtics. And they just filled like the one potential weak spot in their starting five by getting DeAndre Hunter. Clippers picked up Bogdanovich. There's been a bunch of moves like at that level. There was a shit ton of activity. And here we are, Super Bowl week. And a ton of people are talking about Luka Doncic and Jimmy Butler getting traded and all this other stuff. The NBA, give them their props for this. Like, whatever we thought about the CBA, shit's still getting done. And the GMs win too, by the way. The GMs in a system that is tighter, that is harder to make.
Almost all of them do.
Well, yeah, a lot of.
We'll get to that in the loser section.
Yeah, there's some of them made a lot of moves, and maybe we shouldn't be praising them for it. But I'm just saying the creativity of front offices is still winning out. Even in the system is tighter. It is harder to make deals. But these guys just got a ton of business done in the last several days. And so, like, that is a good sign for the league. Not just because transactions are fun for everybody and great content and fans love it, but because you do need enough flexibility in the system to make roster adjustments, and it's still there. So the NBA won.
Yeah. All right, well, you guys took all of my stuff and then made your own points and made the points I was going to make on the winner.
There's still other winners.
I just want to say, I'm going to start the biggest loser of this all is Rob Pelinka's jacket. Jesus Christ. It's pretty bad.
No, we all win because there's been so many great Rob Pelinka jacket jokes. So
Rob Pelinka won, though. I do want to we could say the Lakers, right? Obviously, we could say the Lakers as a whole won the deadline they did, but we should give special props to Rob Pelinka, and in a lot of ways has transformed his reputation league wide, right? Like there's a reason why he took that picture after Luka got off the private jet in the Sprinter van with Luka. Like, yeah, I did this. And there's a reason why he wore that hideous leather jacket, because he did this. And the special rollie because he did this. So I think that Rob Pelinka definitely wins it. I want to give a great shout out to that. Let's go to the losers really quickly. And I think we should start off. I have other losers that I want to get to. Obviously, Nico Harrison, no matter how you ever spin this, is just a loser. We have talked about him in depth. I want to ask this question.
No. Ain't gonna do that. We don't do that.
He lost the trade deadline, though, did he not?
I guess that's my guy.
He came
the
out.
Lakers are the biggest winner of the trade deadline, then the Mavericks are the biggest loser of the trade deadline.
Roger.
Yes.
No, but here's the thing, though. I get it because Roger's a great friend, and this is what Roger. This is like the 2020 Russell Westbrook slander award for you don't slander him, but I don't have a reason why you can't right now. But you better not fucking slander him in my presence. And I respect it. I respect it.
Thanks.
I just want to use this as a question, and I was thinking it. But Isaiah Blakely just brought it up in the pre-pod meeting, and I agree with him. What the hell are the Toronto Raptors doing, ladies and gentlemen? What are they doing? What plan do they have? What is Masai Ujiri doing? He traded for Brandon Ingram. That means he's going to have to pay Brandon Ingram. They're building around Scotty Barnes, who I'm not sure he's a decent player, but I'm not sure he's better than decent. He gets good stats, but doesn't necessarily elevate that team. What is the goal here, Beck? What the hell are the Raptors doing?
They haven't picked, first they didn't pick a direction once Kawhi left, right? It was, well, we're going to try to meander along with what's left of the championship team, and that didn't work so well. They belatedly start tearing it apart. They trade Siakam. They trade OG Anunoby. They lost Van Vliet along the way for nothing. And I thought the Anunoby trade brought back, Quickly and Barrett, and it looked like, all right, there's, the outline of something here. But not in fairness, the context of this is that no team that doesn't have a clear franchise star ever completely can have a clear direction, right? If you think Scotty Barnes is going to actually be a perennial All-NBA player who you can build around, that gives you clarity. You know exactly what you need to do. But when Scotty Barnes sometimes looks like a franchise star and sometimes looks like just a really good, complementary type star, more of a Lamar Odom type or something, then it's harder to pick a direction because you don't have that North Star for that to provide that clarity. And so what they're doing instead right now is being opportunistic, right? Oh, Brandon Ingram's available for practically nothing. We got a Bruce Brown contract we need to move anyway. Why not? But yeah, he's coming up on free agency, and what are they willing to pay him? And do they already have a sense of what that will be? Are they actually keeping him? And if they're not, then what was the point of this exercise? So, and I haven't checked in with people in the wake of that one to see if there's a specific, narrative around that trade about what their intentions are. But the Raptors are confusing.
I got another loser here. It's a brief loser. Danny Ainge. For anything that he messed around and helped a team that he hated. You hate helping out your ops. facilitating the deal to get Luka Doncic to the Lakers.
He picked up more second-round picks. He's just stockpiling stuff, trying to figure out.
No, he's stockpiling, but it's like you're still bad that you helped a op when you didn't know you were going to help a op. It's always bad.
Laker fans are having a field day with that part of it. I will say that.
Yes, they are. You brought up the Kings, and I know those are one of your losers, Beck.
Kings. With an A
Kings,
and a bunch of Z's.
Kings or Kangs? Kings or Kangs? Kangs. Okay.
No, they're back to being the Kangs. I'm sorry. I like a lot of people there, but they're back to being Kangs. They got no direction.
Are they acting like Sac State right now?
Woo! Stop that. You got me in trouble with Sam Amick already once in the last couple of weeks with your Sac State slander, which he just then blames me for, even though both times you're the one to bring him up. Go Aggies. Anyway.
That's what's cool about not going to college and you can slander everyone's college. I can slander UC Davis if I wanted to.
Don't care. Don't you dare. No, the Kings, man, I understand difficult situation here where De'Aaron Fox has basically indicated, I'm not signing the extension and I probably would like to go somewhere else and it would probably prefer it to be San Antonio. They didn't get enough back. They should have gotten, there was the one first-round pick that the Spurs owned from the Hawks, I think in this year's draft. Like, that would have been a nice piece to get. Maybe you were never going to get Stephon Castle or Vassell or somebody else, but like, my gosh, you had to get more for De'Aaron Fox. He's your franchise star. He's the best thing that had happened to you in a long time. And you're now, like, the number of ways in which this has just gone wrong. And then Monty McNair, the GM, has to sit there the other day, He finally does a press conference, right? The Kings never put anybody out there to talk about why they fired Mike Brown. Like, not unheard of, but incredibly rare and very bad form by any pro sports franchise to not address why you fired your coach at the time that you did it. And so here he's having a press conference to talk about trading De'Aaron Fox for Zach LaVine. And the very first question, as it should be, I don't know who asked it, but props to them for doing it. Tell us why you fired Mike Brown a month and a half or whatever it was ago and didn't talk about it. Why'd you fire him and why didn't you address it? And Monty McNair, with weeks for them to decide what the message would be, basically said, we were too busy. Like, that was the basic thing. Like, we had a lot, there was a lot going on. And like, no, I'm sorry, that's not it. You owe it to your fans to explain the decision, that why you fired the not so long ago coach of the year who led you to your franchise's best season in 20 years. And so, like, it just feels like the bad old days with the Kings again. Your franchise player has been traded for an insufficient return. You fired the coach of the year.
You have a lame duck head coach right now, right? Like,
I mean, who knows? Maybe Doug Christie becomes the guy. But like, again, you want to know where a franchise is heading. Where are they heading? What is their direction? Like, Zach LaVine's a really good player, but you were better off with De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis and company than Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan reenacting their Chicago Bulls mediocre teams from a couple of years ago. Like, so where is this going other than just like spinning your wheels? And I feel for Kings fans. Like, this is a really frustrating team. And they just had some good vibes and and feeling like everything was in the right direction, light the beam, all of it, just a year and a half ago, and it's just all dissipated.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's from ownership on down. I mean,
it's ownership. Let's be clear.
It's definitely ownership. Vivek Ranadive, and like, just from a standpoint of, even like, you didn't get a good return on it, but like, I think Vivek, more than anything, more than he wants to win, I think he just wants to be relevant, right? And he wants to be on TV. He wants to say, hey, I got Zach LaVine. Hey, I'm surprised they didn't get Kuzma at the trade deadline, because they just love random. Whoever the Kings get is just like a random love, because of a random love affair that Vivek has with said player, right? Or even from a politics standpoint behind the scenes, like, you say you empower Monty McNair, but then you have Vlade Divac sitting next to you in the front and courtside, right? Like, completely, even if Vlade's not doing anything, like, that's just bad optics. You have your former GM right there by your side as Monty and I get that Vlade Divac is a great in Sacramento, but it's just a weird thing that they have going, and that's just the politics right there, and how you continue to undermine your head coaches. Everybody is scared to become a head coach there because they thought that they already knew that Doug Christie was going to be in the wings if you ever got on Vivek's bad side and he fired you. Like there was no trust anywhere within that organization because there's just so much innuendo. There's so much backstabbing, as you can see. Like it's just not, and it starts with the face of that is the owner, Vivek Ranadive, and they're not going to get right until they get out of their own way.
Vlade, by the way, who was the one who passed on Luka to take Marvin Bagley, who got traded again today. So they passed on Luka and took Marvin Bagley instead. Obviously,
and that might have been some European like beef.
Yeah, some intel or whatever. Who knows? But whatever. So that happens, right? And part of the excuse for not drafting Luka was, well, we have De'Aaron Fox, and we didn't think that they would fit together. Then they eventually make a really savvy draft pick of Tyrese Halliburton, but Halliburton and Fox don't seem altogether compatible. So you trade Halliburton for Sabonis. Then you have the best season you've had in 20 years with Fox and Sabonis as your pillars, and now De'Aaron Fox is gone. So you passed on Luka because of De'Aaron Fox, and then you traded away Tyrese Halliburton because of De'Aaron Fox, and now you don't have De'Aaron Fox. Like this is just, this is different front offices along the way, and it's different decision points, and these things aren't all necessarily related, but they kind of are also, and it's just a bad sequence of events that.
Well, it's a pattern, right? Like not only that's just like the draft stuff, right? But then you talk about how Mike Brown was fired. That happened with Mike Malone a decade ago with the people that are in place. There's just so much turnover and so much turnover. God. I feel for the fans, but the fans don't even actually criticize this team locally. Like it's I get it, but it's just
give the media credit though. That I watched
the
that
media
presser
does
with
good.
Monty
I'm talking
McNair.
about
They went
the
hard
fan
at him
base.
yesterday.
I get it. No. They did a good job. I'm not talking about the media. I'm talking about the fan base because I mean they're happy to have a basketball team right now, right? And it's tough for a fan base to. I think so. I mean, they're happy to be. Have you been to a Kings game lately? Yes, they are happy to have a basketball team. Anyways, I feel like we bash the Kings, and I feel bad that we go hard on the Kings on the Real Ones pod, but it is what it is. Any other moves that tickled anyone's fancy before we get out of here? Any moves that we needed that you liked, Beck? Any moves that you liked at Raja that were savvy?
Go ahead, Howard.
No, I was just gonna say one more loser. Like the Suns lost too. Like they wanted Jimmy Butler, they couldn't get him. They couldn't get Bradley Beal to waive his no trade clause. They at least looked around on KD trades, I think. And they offloaded Nurkic, and I think it cost them a pick.
Also, they talked themselves briefly into trading Kevin Durant for Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, right. So
for what though? Like it was like for no reason at all. Just said, hey, they could have just said no. We're not getting there. Somebody's untouchable.
Yeah, I don't understand where that would have gotten them, or why they even entertained that. But at one point, what I had heard yesterday was it was going to be Durant to the Warriors. The Suns would have landed Jimmy Butler and Kuminga and a first, I think that was coming from the Warriors. And then Wiggins, Schroeder, and picks would have gone to Miami. So that was the outline of a deal that I heard was on the table up until KD made it clear that he wasn't going to participate. And maybe that wasn't the full thing, but that was the outline that somebody had provided to me yesterday morning. But the Suns are kind of dead in the water, and they've got a lot to figure out. And it certainly seems clear at this point that they have rightly concluded that this is not going anywhere. And so I'll be shocked if they don't trade Durant this summer, and who knows, maybe it'll be even more extensive than that. Maybe they find somebody, maybe Bradley Beal will waive his no trade clause and they'll offload him too. And but the Suns are heading for a reckoning because this season is rapidly getting away from them.
And we're already getting reports that sorry, Raja, about your Suns, buddy. We're already getting reports that the locker room dynamic is getting toxic after this. It's from Ramona Shelburne of ESPN. It's tough. And also the trade from Golden State in Phoenix for Durant, it seemed like everybody was making plans and no one asked Durant what he wanted to do. was like, "Hey, we got this deal in place just in case you try to go." He's like, "Nah, I'll pass. I'm good." Yikes.